Yo, yo. Subscriber asked me if I can trade levels in a downtrend. Short answer is yes. Longer answer is it does take a little bit more advanced skill set to do so. So in a downtrend or a correction, I prefer to advise my newer users to either be mostly in cash, or if they think the trend is going to continue down, then to go short small amounts. But you can't do that in Coinbase Pro. You have to be on an exchange like FTX, or I think Binance does it. I haven't traded much on Binance. One of these other exchanges. So I'm going to cover, I have in the past, but I'm going to cover again today a little bit of how to do that, how to trade the levels on the way down, still make profits. You're going long in a downtrend. All right. So, you know, definitely when you go against the river, you're not going to make as much profit, but it still can be done, and you still definitely can make profit. And I'm going to show you a past example of where I actually almost doubled my crypto positions in a downtrend. All right, first let's just cover real quick what the broader markets are doing. SPY is forming this nice bull flag here above our resistance level. I expect that to continue into the next year. That's a good sign. NASDAQ has hurdled our resistance, and kind of the same thing. Maybe the next day or two we come down and touch that and then continue up in our channel. VIX has come down very nicely. Fear has left the market here in the broader space. I think I checked our crypto fear greed index and it was still at 27. To be expected with the drawback that we had yesterday. Dow up above our resistance level. All right, look for this trend to continue. Maybe we won't be quite as healthy as the other guys where we come to the middle of this channel. Maybe we stay or right along the bottom of this support level. But we are in a bullish channel, so that's a good sign. Let's take a look at our crypto leaders. And then I will get to how to play levels on the way down. All right, let me turn this music off. Sorry about that, guys. I forgot to turn this off before. All right, so Bitcoin still delete. Let's move this over. All right, Bitcoin is performing nicely, exactly as expected. Came down, touched the 200-day, and yesterday I said it's possible we come down and test this green trend line. Still haven't gotten there yet, quite. So there could be another down day where we come down and really kiss this green trend line before moving up. But that's what I see in sight for Bitcoin. All right, and Ethereum is still above the neckline. Bears just can't bring us below. And yesterday my expectation was that we could poke below the green and hit our black trend line. And the Bears couldn't even do that. I think the Bears are running out of steam here. Very weak. I think we are very close to a bull market cycle once again. All right. But y'all wanted to know how I play the levels down. Let's go back to Bitcoin to show you an example of how I did that. I'm going to have to zoom out here. All right, so let's move this chart over. Actually, I'm going to zoom back in and just move the chart over. All right, see what I called the head and shoulders pattern over here? I know everybody called that a Wyckoff pattern. It doesn't make any difference, guys, if you get it right. And I got it right. All right, so I call this a left shoulder. And I call this whole thing here a head. And I call this the right shoulder. All right, and once we hit that, I started to get out of my crypto positions. Now, I wasn't in Bitcoin, but I could see bearish patterns replicated throughout the crypto space. So I use Bitcoin as my lead indicator, as you do in the crypto space. This was my neckline. See the black neckline here I have drawn for this, what I call a head and shoulders pattern. All right. Then I measured from the top of the head to the neck to give me my target down. The target down was this purple line. I can thicken that up a little bit so you can see it better. And look what we hit, guys. We hit that purple line, that target down exactly. All right, so if you're going to play longs in a bear market, what you have to do is what I did, all right? And that was as soon as we broke below this neckline, and truthfully, I was feeling bearish at the time, so I didn't even wait for confirmation candle. Now, if you would have waited for a confirmation candle, this is where you would have sold, right? The second candle there, all right? As soon as we broke below this, I zoomed into the 4 hour. If I do that here, it's going to mess up my where we're at. So I'm not going to do that right now. But I zoomed into the 4 hour to see what the 4 hour chart was telling me. All right. And right around here is when I offloaded about 80% of my crypto positions. I was all in cash at the moment. All right. The second day, when we closed this candle, is when I offloaded the rest. And then I was all in cash, and I said, okay, it looks like this head and shoulders pattern is going to play out. I'm going to wait to see what the market does. And so I did. And we did come down to my target. I wasn't sure we were actually going to hit my target. As always, I doubted my charts again. And so, to be honest with you guys, I didn't wait for us to come down. I started to buy back in once we hit this black trend line intersecting with the green trend line. I thought that is good support. I'm going to buy back here. And so I was probably 80% back in at this point. However, look at how much I gained in the interim. Let's just say we take it from where I entered to that last candle, which was only 20%. That's 40%. All right. So you can see why I almost doubled my positioning. You know, if that's you know, up here, you're looking at quite a bit of token gainage, and that's how I played my levels. I had this level already drawn out, and I was waiting for a dead cat bounce, and we bounced. And what I did when we hit the 200-day, I offloaded as I do. Oh, I don't even remember what I offloaded truthfully, guys, but it was 40-50% of my position, expecting us to come back down again. All right. So let's say I was out in cash 50%. I waited for us to come back down. I started to enter here again at the black and green levels because that's where I thought might be the most support. All right. But I didn't enter all back in. And we did, in fact, hit my target down here in here and even lower. But that is how I gained a lot of token positioning, especially in the crypto world. All right, so I measured here and it was 40%. So you can imagine in the uh, altcoin space is what I meant. You can imagine in the altcoin space that move was much exaggerated, and that is exactly what happened. I think I was in OXT at the time. We can go to that chart real quick, and I can show you. Let's see, time frame wise was 15th. I just want to keep track of that because the 15th and the 16th is when I started to unload my OXT. I was in OXT and I believe I was in BAT. So let's take a look at that chart real quick so you can see how using Bitcoin as an indicator was advantageous for me. All right, so May, what did it say, 15th and 16th, right? All right, so May 15th was right here. I'm going to circle that for you guys. All right. So even though on the 16th we had an update, I saw that pattern on Bitcoin, and you can see it a little bit here. All right, you guys see the head and shoulders pattern? I've got this red trend line indicating, let me thicken that so you guys can see it. All right, that was our neckline. The pattern was replicated. I definitely have a left shoulder, definitely a head, and definitely a right shoulder. All right, so once we started touching that neckline, that's when I started to offload my positions. And then again, I drew the target down on this. All right, the target down was hard for me to believe once again on this chart. So you would draw from the neckline. Let's do that real quick so you can see. I drew from the neckline all the way up here somewhere. I'm getting something interfering here. What am I? All right, so I'm just going to do that. All right. And then I placed it where we broke, and look at where it takes us. All right, I got to take it out of auto here to zoom down. It took me all the way down to 15 cents. And we almost made that, guys. We almost made that. But I watched this very closely, and when I thought we had reached the bottom, which was actually this bottom black line, I thought that is our base level of support. We can't possibly get lower than that. Now, we did break below it. You see the wick there, the wick down? We did break below that and hit that one time, but I was already in, all right? I was positioning myself from this top bad black line down to the bottom black line, and by the time we hit that bottom black line, I was 100% in. So yeah, when we broke below that, I started to get a little bit nervous, but I've been tracking this particular crypto for a long time, and I think this trend line comes all the way back. Yeah, when I first started trading this, 12 cents. All right. So let's measure that real quick so you can see how much gains I got. Now, this is where I said I was 100% in. So I'm going to take that to our neckline. And so you can see that's 161%. I didn't make that much. All right. I didn't sell. Let me show you where I sold. I started to sell when we broke this, and I would say I was out 20% right here. And then this was fast. This candle happened fast. All right. So I took out another 20% here. We broke through the 200 day. I took another 20% here. So I was taking out on the way down. So I didn't quite get that 161%, but I did almost double in this positioning by mapping out my levels and having my target down, and then trying my best to trust the analysis. Now you can see I didn't trust it entirely because our target down is actually this 1537 mark, this area down here. And I was 100% in here at the bottom uptrending black line. And I was probably about 40-50% in here. All right. So that dollar cost averaging in netted me around 90% gains on this particular token. I wasn't doing I wasn't taking my own advice at the time, basically. I was mostly in OXT. You shouldn't do that. You should put all your eggs in one basket. But I was being very aggressive because a little over a year and a half ago, I did not have what I wanted to have in crypto. So I was trying to capitalize and gain as much as I could. And it worked out for me. All right. Instead of gaining, 15x when I called the bottom on Bitcoin, I gained around 31x, 31 times what my initial positioning was in March of 2020. All right. And I did that by trading levels. And so it's a little bit more advanced. And that's why I recommend, like, I'm trying to teach you guys how to do this, but you're not going to get it right away as beginning technical analysis. And so that's where I would recommend you follow me at Substack. And then you can just follow my trades. And then you can see how I map out these levels, how I trade in and out of positions, and what my strategy and thinking is in entering what I think is a good setup and exiting where I exit. You guys know at Substack that sometimes I exit quicker than you expected. And that's mainly, as I've said before, one of my rules is if we make, a 25, 30% gain in one day, plus we hit a major level of resistance, I'm almost always 100% out. Sometimes I'll leave in, 40%, 30%, depending on how good I feel about that particular crypto. But many times, if we hit 25 to 30% in one day, and that coincides or that intersects a major level of resistance, you guys at Substack know I'm out 100%. Take my profits. I wait to either re-enter that same crypto when it comes back down, or I reposition because there are plenty of opportunities out there. All right, guys. So that is how I trade levels in a bear market and also capitalize. In fact, I would say my greatest gains, if I'm in this crypto space for the long haul, are on the downside. And you can see right there why they are. I don't make as much on the way up, especially if we go up 25, 30% in one day and I'm out. Well, I'm only making 25, 30%. But on the way down, when we have these huge drops like we did back in May, that's when I really repositioning helps me tremendously. And, in OXT's case, I went from, let's say I had 10,000 tokens. I had more than that, but let's say it was 10,000, just so we can do the math. I went from 10,000 to 20,000. All right. Just by being all in cash, playing my levels, and repositioning or re entering when we hit my target down area. All right. Hopefully that helps. I wish you all the best and Happy New Year.